Hello everyone, Crash Desperate here and welcome to my first ever tutorial video, this time covering how to build games in Project Spark, which is free to download on Windows 8 and Xbox One. Now, I've spent a lot of time playing, community creations that people have already made in this game, and some that are absolutely fantastic, and it really shows off what this game can do. Voice crack. And I've made videos of all the ones that I've played so far, so you should totally check those out. There'll be a link to that in the description and at the end of the video. But, staying on topic, in this video, I'm going to be covering the game's built-in game-making tutorial from start to finish. So what this includes is basic programming and level sculpting, and these are the two core steps of making any game in Project Spark. So once you've got the basic understanding from this video, you can just go off and learn other smaller bits by yourself, and that'll be a lot easier to do. Just bear in mind that this video was made in the Xbox One version of Project Spark, so the controls will be a little bit different on PC, but it will mostly be the same. Of course, you could probably just play this tutorial yourself in the game, but I have sped this up in a lot of areas to save you time, just so this video isn't like half an hour long. And also the in-game narrator gets really, really annoying after a while, so this whole video is muted and I've stuck in some Kevin MacLeod music instead, but I'm sure you won't mind, because in my opinion that is a massive improvement. So we'll just give it a start now. So we're in game now, and what the game wants us to do to start with is find the prop tool. Edit. There we go. Right, so now we're going to press up on the D-pad, and this will open up the prop gallery. These are all of the objects that you can use in the game. Every single object. But we're going to shift over to the character tab, and here you can see we've got 10 sort of preset models, and then towards the right hand side you've got all the DLC ones. You don't have to spend real money to unlock them, you can just spend Project Spark in-game money, which you do get naturally, to unlock a few things. Now the brilliant thing is, once you've unlocked one of these things, don't quote me on this, but I don't think that your players have to have downloaded and unlocked the same item. So that means if you unlock all these cool things, you can throw it in your game and everyone can play it still, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But no, we're gonna pick something now to be our hero, deciding that humans are a little bit boring and overdone, so we're gonna go with a bird. Because why the not? Bird is the word. Am I right or am I wrong? So you press the left trigger to snap it down to ground level, and then you press right trigger to place it. Now that is true for everything in the game. Right trigger places it. Now, if you hold down the left bumper and press Y, you go into the item's brain. So this is where, as it says, the magic really happens. This is a collection of code. So it's divided into when and do. So when something happens, a do will happen. So we're just waiting now for myself to wake up. So we've got a blank brain there. So we need to control this bird. It's our character. So we need to add in some controls. So when, controls, controller, and left stick. So when we use the left stick, we need to program something to do it, for the left stick to do. So just plus button again, click on movement, click on move. So when we use the left stick, we will move. Nice and simple, and you can see where the logic is there. So we're going to test this out now. So we press the menu button to open the pause menu. The only thing we're going to be using in the pause menu for this whole video is testing. Switching back between test and edit mode. We've got Speedy Gonzales bird here, just enjoying himself. I did speed that up. So, as it says there, the pause menu does have many uses, but we're going to be using it for switching between modes. So, that is fine. So, we need to go back into the brain because we're not done programming it, because literally all it does at the moment is move. And that's a little bit boring. So, what we're going to do is controls, controller, A. And then you go to do and movement and jump. So, that basically means that when A happens, the character will jump. However, this does mean that if you're holding down the button, it will constantly jump. So what we need to do is modify the when. So to combine two different conditions. So that when A is pressed, as you can see there, it will only jump when A is pressed. Not when A is held down. You have to press it new each time for the character to jump. And as it says there, one more key thing that is missing is a camera. You might remember in that test, the camera was just stuck in one place. So we need the camera to follow the bird around. So we're not going to put a when in here because we want this to happen at all times during the game. The camera needs to follow the bird. So we just select follow camera from do. So because the when, like as it said there, when the when is empty, it will happen at all times. So we'll go and test it out, I think. Right, so here we are, sped up again. So the bird is now moving around, it is jumping, and we have a camera which is following it around. So that's a bit of an improvement from last time. Although it does look a bit weird that the bird is flying and just coasting along the floor there. That's still not something I figured out how to fix, funnily enough. So now we're going to add attacks. So when control X. So when we press X, the bird needs to do something else now. So what we're going to do, waiting for it, combat, attack. So the bird will now attack when the X button is pressed. Again, nice and simple. You can see where all the thinking is coming from here. And on this one, when Y is pressed, just waiting for it, combat, shoot. So the bird is now going to shoot something, and the default projectile here is a fireball. So we have a fireball shooting bird that likes attacking things. Great. Just achievement unlocked, ignore that. And there's your standard fireball and attack. It just looks like it's flailing around rather angrily whenever you press the X button. So maybe in retrospect the bird is not a good thing to have a fighting hero with, but we're going to do it anyway. Let's go with it. So now we need to create something to be its nemesis for it to attack. So we're going to go back into prop mode and we need to select something else now and just ignore the other random achievement that I unlocked when I was doing this. So yeah, use the D-pad, and now we're going to select a goblin. Now, you can see it's got a bit of a hotbar on props. Those are your more recently used items, so you don't have to go into that big menu to find those. Those are all your recently used ones, which is a lot easier when you're trying to find something. So, if you hold down the bumper and go into the brain again... Now, the issue that we have here is that this needs to be an AI goblin, and it will take absolutely forever to program in the AI for this goblin, because there's so many things you have to take into account. But thank God, if you go into the menu in the brain, there's a brain gallery. So what we need to do is search for one of the preset brains that have already been programmed in. So you can use as many of these as you want in your game. It's not going to pull you up at any point for it. So we need to find the name enemy brain. Apparently I decided to be clever and try and tag enemy instead of actually search it. Yep, so there we go. So we're searching for it now. Enemy brain, there it is. So we just go and grab it. So this will make the goblin become my fearsome adversary. So look at this. If you were going to program an AI in this game, that is all the things you would have to consider. So thank God for presets, because there's no way I'm going to even start getting into that. So here we are in the preview, again sped up. We got the goblin running after the bird, and my tiny bird just summons his magical powers and defeats the goblin in 0.5 seconds flat. Great, so we've conquered basic programming. So now we're moving on to the second part of the video. We're going to do sculpting. So now we've got to create a nice area, a nice backdrop for our characters to be in. So we're going to make a mountain. So if you press A, it'll go back. So we're going to move away from the edit and the prop tool to expand, the expand tool. So these are all the different sculpting tools. So here we have the bauble, that I call it, that it's your cursor basically. If you press Y, it moves up. If you press X, it moves down. If you hold down the left bumper, it'll change its properties, and so on and so forth. So, to sculpt, you hold down the right trigger to expand. So I'm just waiting for it to wake up there again. There we go. Expand. There we go. It is literally that simple. So this would go a lot faster with a bigger brush. So the game is again just basically saying, pull up your left bumper and just select scale and shape and intensity or whatever you want to use, and just change it, basically. Let's go wild. So scale 100%, that's as big as you can make it. I've sped this up again because I went a little bit crazy with the mountain. I just thought, you know what, let's make a f***ing crazy iceberg. Why not? So that's great for adding terrain, but sometimes you might go a little bit crazy like I did there, and you might want to use the erode tool, like so. So just erode things away, use, you know, the two different tools, expand and erode, and hey presto, you've got yourself a rather fancy ice football. Good going. I'm absolutely trashing this terrain now. I've left a great big puddle in the middle of the map, a perfectly circular puddle as well, and I have this weird erection on top of my iceberg. Great. So in changing the intensity of it, of the bauble, it basically changes how fast it works. So if you have like 100% and you just literally tap erode, everything in the bauble would just disappear. It'd be crazy. So now that we've created this really weird jagged iceberg thing, we're going to go into paint mode and we're going to make it look half decent. So press the right trigger to paint some magic into your world. So we're going to go over to it, change the scale and everything, and we're going to select that snow area, change the intensity, and look what we have here. Now what I like about this is that it automatically paints in cliffs as like a separate thing. It detects when it's steep enough to turn into a cliff. And look, that's turned it from like an iceberg into something that actually looks quite pretty and natural with minimal effort. It's perfect. So we now need to make a path, the game was saying, so we need to select a second thing to make a path with. Yeah, let's actually pick something from the gallery. So this is the paint gallery, and it's got all the lovely sort of different things that you can paint the land with. So of course it already has a preset stone path, but we'll get to that in a second. Just look at some of these that you can get once you've unlocked, you know, in the game, all these different things you can get. Void corruption in particular looked a bit funky. I'll say funky. So we were just going to go with plain old stone path because that was all we really needed. Oh right, yeah, I was just getting a bit confused with the bits of the bottom there. Do not mind me. So what you do is you attach it to the custom bit at the bottom there, and here we go. You just sculpt it the same way that you sculpted the ice, except I've made it a little bit crooked and not so neat because at this point I really just didn't care. So there we go, we've painted, we've made a path, but now we need to go back to the prop tool because we're going to add some scenery. So let's go back to it, edit, and we'll go into the prop gallery, and but this time not in the characters tab. We're going to add some coins. So these are going to be collectibles for Speedy Gonzales Bird to collect. And as you can see, just adding them there, just snapping to ground level with the left trigger every time I want to add a new one. That is really quite handy, to be honest. So we've got the collectible coins, and now we're going to add in some vegetation. So we're just going to search for tree. And you can see we've got all these lovely different types of preset tree. Which is really nice because you don't want to just have the same old copy-pasted tree. So we're just going to go with this really nice big-looking tree. Just figuring out where to put it. And scaling up to be a great mother Titan tree. Great. I have the best taste in scenery. Okay, and put it at the very top of the peak just to be even more impressive. So, awesome job. The hero now has a summit to conquer, coins to collect, and a thing to fight. So the last thing we're going to cover is how to make the game over, as it were. So what we're going to do is add the prop that will make that happen, which in this case is going to be a flag. So a village flag. So we're going to the prop gallery, find it, and plonk it down. I was just going to rotate it a little bit, just to, there we go, make it look a bit neater. So we need to program the brain of this item. You don't just program the brain of like characters. You can program brains of items as well for it to do things when you do certain things to it. So you just enter it in the same way, but this time we're going to sensors bump. So when something, this basically says when something bumps this flag, something's going to happen. But we only want it when the player bumps the flag. So we need to change that. So the object, player. So when the player bumps the flag, we need it to do something. However, what we need it to do is going to get really complicated. So we need it to switch over to page 2 when you bump it. So the different pages in the brain act a bit like modes. So as standard, the flag will be in page 1 or mode 1, but when you bump it, the flag will switch into mode 2. And mode 2 is going to do something completely different. Mode 2 is going to end the game. So when the player bumps, it will switch the page to the next page. So now we need to go and code the next page. So when we're ready, we're just going to press the right bumper to switch to page 2 of 2. So we need to code in the game. We need to code in the game over, basically. And this is how you do it, this bit here. So anything you want to happen after the player reaches the flag should go on this page because it has switched the mode. So here we go. So you don't need to put any whens in because your trigger has already been coded into page 1. So here's your do. It will display, when it's ready, text, new text. So you enter your text. So it will display text on screen. So here I am showing how absolutely mature I am, which is great. You can modify rather how big it'll be. So modifiers, positioning, screen position, center. So that's where that's going to be, and also font size, extra large fonts. Perfect. So press B to exit, and we're going to test it. So basically, when we go over to the flag, it's going to display the message. So here we are, attacking a goblin and failing miserably. Great success! That was a fantastic test, that really was. Good going. Your goal works. Yeah, well, you'd think, but I've not even tested it yet. So, right, we're going to go back into the brain, and we're going to code game over. So we've coded the display to happen, but we've not coded it to actually end the game. So what we want to do is we want the screen to fade out when we touch the flag. So there's the fade, and the transition time is going to be new number 3 seconds when we're ready. Bada boom. So that basically says that when you switch to page 2, it will fade over the course of 3 seconds. So also, one other thing that we've just done is added game over, but the issue is it will game over instantly and not give time for fade to kick in. So we need to delay the game over by 3 seconds so that it's got time to fade. So we go into the when, go and select the countdown timer, new number, 3 seconds. So it'll fade. So when you touch the flag, it'll fade for 3 seconds and then instantly game over, which is what we wanted it to do. So we are now going to test it in this mode when it's ready. Just kill the goblin and fly up, collect all the coins. You can see it's got sort of a pre-standard coin collecting system. Winner! And fade and game over. Great, and it kicks you out of test mode as soon as it's done. So that's how you do that. Nice and simple. So when you actually go into the game itself, that will end the game. But for now, it literally just kicked us out. Back to the edit mode. I'm losing my words. I don't know what's going on. So here's the landscape we've made. So we've covered an awful lot in this 20-minute video. So I hope I've not lost you, but I thought, I don't want to make this an extremely long video. So this is the whole basics covered in just one video. So this is what we've made. So that's all I've got for this time. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this has helped. Leave me any comments if there's anything you want me to show you in particular. Remember to check out in the description, I do have my Project Spark community creation playthrough videos, which are absolutely fantastical. They are literally my most popular series. They have silly numbers of views. and I just hope you've enjoyed the video. So, like and favourite the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to me if you haven't already, and I'll be seeing you in the next video that I make. That is a wrap. Toodles!